Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things for people in San Diego County. Full disclosure, my next guest is a dear friend, a longtime friend. I told him it's just going to be a regular 27-minute interview. Now, we're breaking the Guinness Book of World Records today. We're going to be going on for 27 days. So I hope you brought your sleeping bag and all that. And to be honest with you, when you talk to my good friend Andy Strasberg, the author, baseball historian, aficionado, and 4 million things in between, you will never get done with all the phenomenal stories he has to say. Andy, great to see you.
Good seeing you.
It's been way too long. Joined by my co-host, and you guys have some synergy in this. And Kristen is the executive director. Are you CEO yet? Same
it's
title?
the same thing. I do all the things. So
Yeah, that's right. And chief cook and bottle washer of San Diego Writers Inc. So she knows all this stuff. Kristen, you want to start us off with this wonderful author?
yeah, I would love to. Writing's my jam. So tell us a little bit about the book. This looks like a very thick, sturdy. What's all in there?
The name of the book is Strasberg's Baseball Klediment Tales.
Okay.
And it's the story about Klediments, so I should probably explain.
Yes, please.
Most people, in fact, I haven't met anyone who is familiar with the term Klediment. It's a keepsake. It's memorabilia.
Okay.
It's an artifact. I wanted a different name.
It's a great word.
So it would stand out and people would all of a sudden be interested. What is it? The definition of the word is actually on the back cover. And these are items that have value to you personally, and not necessarily monetarily value. And all of my baseball Klediments are the ones that I have been given. I haven't purchased any of these. They have been as a result of a gift or being in the right place at the right time.
Okay.
And we got to explain why that is important. But before we do that, what book number is this of yours?
This would be number 7.
Number 7 over here. And one of the cool things, I'm telling you, this could be a 7-hour interview and it would feel like we're gone in 7 seconds. He wrote a book on the 100th anniversary of Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
Oh, cool.
And among other things on this thing. So whenever Andy comes up with an idea, it is a spectacular one. And he used to be one of the foremost collectors of baseball stuff. I'll leave it at that. His, collection has made its way to the Baseball Hall of Fame many times. And when the Hall of Fame would come out and, Baseball Hall of Fame would travel and all that business, Andy was always involved in this. But, so this is not a fair question to ask you, but Andy knows that I'm a former journalist back in the day when there was barely running water. What's your favorite Klediment?
Oh, it's got to be the bat that Roger Maris gave me. I had asked him, growing up in New York, I asked Roger if I could get one of his home run baseballs and one of his bats. And he said, the next time I crack a bat, I'll give it to you. This is 1965. And then he said, as far as the home run baseball, you're going to have to catch it. And so that's what I did. I was fortunate enough to be the recipient of one of his bats, which was the greatest day in my childhood.
Wow.
Without question. And then a couple of years later, I'm going to Akron University, and I've got this poster of Roger Maris over my bed in the dorm, and I'm telling everybody I'm good friends with Roger Maris, and they said, yeah, sure. Roger gets traded from the Yankees to the Cardinals, and all of a sudden, the season, 1967, starts, and one of the guys in school recognizes the fact that the St. Louis Cardinals are going to be playing Pittsburgh at Forbes Field. And so they said, why don't we travel over there and you can introduce us to your good friend Roger Maris.
That's fair.
2.5 hour drive. I was a little bit nervous, anxious. We get there and I see Roger warming up in front of the visitors' dugout. And I go, Raj? He turns around, he looks at me, he goes, Andy Strasberg, what the hell are you doing here in Pittsburgh? Well, Raj, I got some buddies from college that wanted to meet you. So that was May 9th, 1967. I wished him good luck. In the 6th inning, Roger Maris hit his first National League home run.
Wow.
I caught the ball.
Amazing.
Is
What a
the
great
ball
story.
one of the Klediments?
It is.
Okay. Yeah, that's
No,
true.
he junked it. What do you think? Of course it. I mean, come on.
No, Andy didn't junk anything. Okay, I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay, that's not necessarily true, but you kept a lot of the stuff, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
In this area, I'm surprised it took you this long to write that book.
Well, there are so many books inside of me, like most people.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think there's a book inside of everybody.
Absolutely.
At least one.
So many.
And I needed to have a path where I felt comfortable, and that's how this book came about.
So I got to ask, because you guys have a relationship. So are all the books about baseball?
Yes,
Okay. And why baseball?
that's my life.
Okay.
I am very narrow-minded. I live, eat, and drink and sleep baseball. I cannot live outside of the game of baseball in any way, shape, or form. So
I love it.
Yeah, we're chatting with Andy Strasberg, the author, baseball historian, all-around great guy. Is author of his 7th book is Strasberg's Baseball Klediment Tales. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of doing great things in San Diego County, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She is the executive director of San Diego Writers Inc. Now, my business partner and colleague and friend of Cloudcast Media, New York guy. You probably were chatting with him. Hopefully, you were chatting with him before the show. Okay, and Charles will root for the Yankees when they're not playing the Mets, which is they don't play the Mets. Brings. I'm a little disappointed Charles didn't wear his New York Yankee hat in there, but that's okay. So one of the things that we're going to get to Charles's question in a second, why Roger Maris? And if anyone has seen the movie 61 Asterisk, directed by Billy Crystal, Andy was one of the technical experts on the show and actually wrote himself into the show. And we're going to talk about what scene he was in, because that was so typical Andy Strasberg. But why Roger Maris?
Most of my friends, well, in fact, all of my friends were Mickey Mantle fans. And I guess at my age, I did not want to share, which I think speaks volumes of who I am and what I'm all about. And so I was not looking to share idol worship of Mickey Mantle, and I was looking for my own guy. And when the Yankees traded for Roger Maris just before the 1960 season, I read a story about him, and there were a couple of things in the story that really clicked with me. One was that he was a team player. He was an unselfish player, and also he was a family man. And those three definitions, those three examples of who he was, it resonated with me. I was 12 at the time, and I thought, well, this is a guy that I should follow, and no one else was following him, so that's exactly what I did. 1960, Roger Maris, he won the Most Valuable Player Award. The Yankees got into the World Series. So I had my guy, not realizing that 1961 would be an incredible season when Roger Maris broke Babe Ruth's single-season home run record. And the relationship just kept growing and growing and growing because I had no competition as far as people idolizing Roger Maris.
And to this day, you still stay very much in touch with the Maris family.
Incredibly so. So much so, and I'm going to brag, is that Roger's grandson, one of his grandsons, is named after me, and I'm
Klediment?
his godfather.
Andy. Okay, very good.
And the other grandson, Blaze Maris, 2 years ago was married and asked if I would officiate the wedding. And when I went up to conduct the service, and it was in Florida, I turned around and I looked at everybody there. There were 33 members of the Maris family. And I thought, boy, have I fooled this family.
That's a great story. Andy, when we come back from break, we're going to ask Charles's question so you can think about it. What was your experience in your very first baseball game? We'll talk more about 61, and we'll talk about the book, where you can get the book as well when we return with Andy Strasberg, author of Strasberg's Baseball, Klediment, and Tales. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, with my co-host, Kristen Fogel, Executive Director of San Diego Writers, Inc. We'll be right back after this short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, a nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things for folks in San Diego. So honored to have a colleague, a friend in the studio, and that's author Andy Strasberg of Strasberg's Baseball, Klediment Tales, his 7th book, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She is the president, CEO, executive director, anything you want, chief cook and bottle washer of San Diego Writers, Inc. Explain, if you remember, in detail, because I remember my first baseball game. what it was like when you, and I'm assuming it was at Yankee Stadium.
It was not. My dad was a Giants fan.
Okay.
And we grew up in the Bronx, and my dad took me to my first game. I was 9 years old, and we actually drove over to the Polo Grounds, parked, and we're walking through. Essentially, we're walking through Harlem, the streets of Harlem, and then all of a sudden we go into this enormous building, and it's dark once we get in there, and then it opens up to this large field, green grass. I had never seen such green grass in my life, and it was a spectacular experience that obviously impacted me and shaped my life for the from that day forward. And our seats were actually in the upper deck behind home plate. Now, the perspective that you could see not only the entire field, but if you look out over the center field fence, you could see Yankee Stadium. That's how close.
Wow!
Just across the river was Yankee Stadium. In the about the fourth inning, my dad said, "I'll be right back," and I'm thinking to myself, he's going to go and buy me some souvenir that's going to thrill me to no end. And he then comes back a few minutes later, and he motions for me to come down, and I'm thinking, we're leaving? It's the fourth inning. That's it. That's the experience. So I grab my dad's hand, and we make our way down onto the field level seats. And then all of a sudden, we're sitting right by first base, probably 6 rows back. And now I can hear the players. I can actually smell the grass. And my dad tipped the usher. And this was it. This was one of the greatest experiences that I could imagine. The Giants had a player by the name of Willie Mays who hit a home run. Robin Roberts pitched, and the other things that
so they played the Phillies?
Yeah, they played the Phillies, and what stood out in my mind was the numbers on the back of the Phillies uniforms. They were oversized, and if you ever take a look at a uniform back in those days, those numbers were oversized. But the Giants uniform were so pure white, highlighted with orange and black, and the smell of hot dog, 3 smells, hot dogs, cigars, and the green grass. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Well, there's no question about it. Chatting with Andy Strasberg, author of his 7th book, Strasberg's Baseball, Klediment Tales. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, joined by Kristen Fogel. She is the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc. As you know, we grew up on different coasts, right? My first game was the Phillies against, funny, both our games were the Phillies against the Dodgers, and the same thing. The sky couldn't be bluer, the grass couldn't be greener, and the uniforms couldn't be wider. And you remain a stalwart Yankees fan, and I remain a beloved Dodger fan, hated by many, but that's okay. I can live with that aspect of it. When was the first time you thought about, I want to collect certain things?
Oh, it was right away. My dad used to buy me baseball cards, and that's usually the first thing that most people are introduced to collecting. And it was it was a hobby. It wasn't a business, and it had checklists, and so I needed to collect each card so that I could have the complete set. And I must have been maybe 6 or 7 years old, and boy, it didn't stop.
No, it didn't stop, and I was 8 when I got my first card, and my mom convinced me, Kristen, to not throw away the cards. So I have 6,000 baseball cards.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Unfortunately, 27 of Billy McCool. Now, no one knows who Billy McCool is. He pitched, I think, for the Reds and all that. They're probably collectively worth about negative 27 cents in this area. Listen, Andy, where do you get the book?
This one's easy. It's online, Barnes & Noble online or Amazon.
Yeah, absolutely. And I encourage anyone, Andy is a phenomenal writer. He's the epitome of a storyteller. But I do want to go back to 61 Asterisk, the Billy Crystal movie. And if you haven't seen it, audience, go see it. It's a story, obviously, of the year that Andy was talking about. And Andy was what was your official title? Technical consultant?
That's exactly right.
Oh.
So it was great. So Andy and I were having a lunch after the filming of it, and it was actually filmed at Tiger Stadium in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. And Andy came back with about 150 pictures of this, and there's Billy Crystal and this and that. I was fascinated by this aspect of it. And then I said, okay, I'm sure you're in the movie. He goes, yeah. Billy asked me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on my memory, what scene do you want to be in? And in typical Andy performance, chose something that you probably wouldn't. You'd think goes, I want to be the guy that Sal who caught the 61st home run. Nope, he had something that you would have to know about the history. And Andy, what scene were you in?
After Roger Maris in 1961 hit his 61st home run, he comes around the bases. He's coming to home plate, and there's the bat boy, Frankie Prudente, and the next batter, Yogi Berra. He shakes hands with them, and before he gets to the dugout, one fan very politely comes over the railing onto the field to shake Roger's hand and pat him on the back. I said, Billy, I was 13 years old when that happened, and I wanted to be that fan to congratulate Roger Maris. I said, now I'm in my 50s, and I still want to be that fan. And Billy said, that's the role you'll play in the movie.
So when you watch the movie, and I do encourage people to do that, when you see that part, it's toward the end of the movie, and you were wearing a flannel shirt, right? And, Andy is just an unbelievable guy with detail. I'm not sure if you tracked down that guy, who, of course, that was now 65 years ago. How did you match the shirt? Because it was pretty close.
It actually, a costume designer. And so
Andy.
I had to go through all the processes of, I had to shave my mustache, I had to cut my hair. Now, the kid who actually came on the field was probably 17 or 18. And at the time of the filming, as I said, I was in my 50s. So there was a little bit of poetic license. And so it was, to answer your question, it was the costume designer who provided me with the clothes.
How was it working with Billy Crystal?
It was beyond belief. It was a combination of his personality, his sense of humor, his ability to communicate, the movie process, as well as just everything from having lunch and talking to Barry Pepper, who was playing the role of Roger Maris, because he's the one that Billy was a Mickey Mantle fan. So Thomas Jane played Mickey Mantle. Barry Pepper played Roger Maris. So I focused on Barry Pepper. And Barry Pepper, when we first met, said, I want to know everything about Roger Maris, including if he held his hands in his pockets a certain way. That's the example he gave me. That's what I want to know about. So everyone was incredibly nice, understanding. And after we shot the scene, and I thought maybe a handful of people knew about my relationship with Roger Maris. But after we shot the scene, Billy says, cut, and there's applause. It's the only time I heard applause during the filming of the movie, because they were so thrilled that I was able to get that experience, and now it's forever in a movie.
No, it's a great movie and so forth. I encourage everyone to do that. And Andy, it's always good seeing you. We could talk about what Andy has done. He did a one-man play with Roger Maris here in San Diego, and if I'm not mistaken, he went back to New York as well. Is that right? And so forth, and everything else in between on that. He was heavily involved in the anniversary of Roger Maris's 61st home run, getting a stamp for Roger Maris. And the thing about Andy, he hates when I do this stuff, but he has no choice. It's my show, for God's sake, when I get to tell these stories. You're a good man. Get the book, Strasberg, Baseball, Klediment Tales, and promise you will not be such a stranger, and you'll come back on the show, and we'll find something else to talk about.
Sounds great. Would love to do it. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Absolutely our honor. Andy Strasberg, author of Strasberg's Baseball, Klediment Tales. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in our community. Kristen Fogel, just always enjoy your thoughts and so forth. And I know you're going to go get the book, and you'll be a Klediment fan, right?
I'm there. I have it. I'm reading it currently.
Good. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.